Browns begin their week of preparations for the Houston Texans, just holding a walkthrough today with the Thursday night game next week. Getting late in the season, the bye week, Kevin Stefanski choosing to forego a regular practice and just hold a walkthrough, but still plenty to get to. Mary Kay, we heard from Joe Flacco today. What stood out to you from the Browns quarterback?
Well, first and most importantly, he shaved off his beard. He's trying to look younger and more intimidating, I think. So we had a little bit of fun with that at the beginning of the presser. But, he just talked a lot about going up against this Houston Texans defense, which he's pretty familiar with it. It's the same defense pretty much that the Browns run here, that Robert Saleh ran for the Jets when Joe played for them. So it's a very, very aggressive front. So he knows what he's up against. And then I asked him also about the 35 and over club. Him and Case Keenum, who is 35, dueling against each other this weekend. So it's going to be a battle of the 30-somethings.
Yeah, Ashley, Joe shows up there without a beard. Greg Newsome shows up there in a Santa suit with a beard. Everything was all thrown off today. But again, it just remains a little surreal seeing Joe Flacco stand in that locker room and answer questions about the Cleveland Browns, who he plays for now.
It really is such a stranger than fiction kind of story. I mean, I've said this before, but if you had told me in September that when we got to December, Joe Flacco would be the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, I would be like, what have you been watching all of this time? It makes no sense, but I think adding to it is the fact that he comes out there and is able to lead them in wins like he did against Chicago on Sunday and make throws like he made to Amari Cooper on that 51-yard score. So again, it just kind of emphasizes this is a strange story, but so far it's working out in the Browns' favor.
Yeah, if somebody would have said that, we also certainly wouldn't have been thinking, well, where are we going to be going to watch a game in the week of January 14th? But here we are. Browns getting closer to a wild card weekend. But they're dealing with injuries too. Joel Bitonio, really the big one we're still monitoring. It's an estimated injury report today because of the walkthrough, but he is not practicing because of that back injury. Juan Thornhill also not practicing still, Mary Kay. And Ogbo Okoronkwo still not on IR, so even that situation still kind of ongoing.
Yeah, the thing about Ogbo right now is that he is still trying to determine if there's any chance he could come back for the playoffs. So I never really expected him to play in these early games right after the torn pec. If he does anything, it will be later on in the playoffs. So he's just trying to decide, does he have the surgery now and get it over with, or does he try to wait until after the season, after the playoffs, and see if can hold out just that slimmest hope that he can get back. But certainly, Joel, that's one to keep an eye on. And, you don't want to be in this game against that stout defensive front without Joel and the other guys, too.
Yeah, Ashley, we've talked about this. It's so rare for Joel to leave a game. Obviously, he had that long snap streak before he missed that San Francisco game this season. So for him to leave a game is certainly concerning, and now we've just got to kind of be on day-to-day watch here with Joel.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's almost jarring when you see him leave a game the way he had to, and it was so definitive. He just kind of knelt down at the line of scrimmage and had to be helped off, basically. And, I mean, at first it was like, okay, he's staying on the sideline, so maybe that's good, but hearing him talk after the game and mentioning that he felt like he couldn't move, I think when a guy like that makes a comment like that or an admission like that, it definitely is not pointing to everything being fine and well coming back the following week.
And we did not see Joel in the locker room today when we were in there either, so not really sure how he's looking today. It's not just Brown's injuries. Mary Kay mentioned it at the beginning. It looks like it's going to be Case Keenum this week. CJ Stroud remains in the concussion protocol. He is not practicing today. All the reporting from Houston basically indicating that CJ Stroud is not going to play, which, look, nothing against Case Keenum, obviously, but that is a big break for the Browns.
It's a huge break for the Browns. And, they needed some breaks this season in order to accomplish their goals, and they've certainly gotten them. This is another backup quarterback that they're going to face. In fact, they will face backup quarterbacks the rest of the way. And, they didn't have to face Kyler Murray. They got Joe Burrow on one leg. So they've gotten the breaks that they have needed, and it's going to help them get into the playoffs. And then once they get there, anything can happen.
And Ashley, just again, CJ Stroud has been so good, but Case Keenum, don't write him off. We've seen him win football games as a backup before.
And he's familiar with a lot of these guys, obviously, from his time in Cleveland. I think that's definitely something to account for. But I did also think it was interesting to hear Greg Newsome say, obviously they hope Case Keenum as well because of his concussion, that he's dealing with. That's a very serious thing. But these guys also want to face the best possible competition that they can. So I thought that was interesting that he pointed it out, that they would, of course, rather see CJ in that situation since he is the starter and playing so well.
Okay, Browns and Texans coming up on Sunday. We'll have full coverage throughout the week leading up to the game at cleveland.com/Browns.